open to obtain a legal abortion. And should be possible, 68%. Should not be possible, 21%. 11% didn't know. The woman's own health is seriously endangered. Wendy-Davis talks about that in her book. She became pregnant as a result of rape, 68% there, and 21% even in cases of rape should not, 11% didn't know. She became pregnant as, and I'm not sure what that is, 68% there, and that is far broke down. Well, we got the health insurance. Oh, this is birth defects, 54%, and an abortion, 31% not. The family has very low income and can't afford any more kids, 35% should get an abortion, 55% not. She's not married, doesn't want to marry the man, 35% abortion, 55% not. What happens to the kid? Gets to go to an orphanage. And there's some of the questions in this. When thinking about your overall health, your families and others, each of the following: extremely healthy, 34%, somewhat healthy, 52%, 9% is unhealthy there. Your immediate family, 40% extremely healthy, and you can see where this is going, and somewhat healthy, 47%. Your aunts, your uncles and cousins, 20% extremely healthy, 55% somewhat healthy. Most Texans, 5%, and let's see, somewhat healthy, 55%. Most Americans, extremely healthy, 3%, and 40% there. And this is a nonpartisan poll, very interesting poll here. It's an independent poll, and we wanted to make certain that everyone understood exactly what was going on there. And the margin of error is 3.8%, which means it could vary in either direction. Well, that's kind of interesting there. I don't know if, let's see, if we layout of where she is, it's 86% of Democrats, 62% of Latinos to 26%. Amongst African Americans, 83-3. Abbott leads 85% with Republicans. With white voters, 62%. That's pretty, to 27%. That's pretty common across the South. With independent voters, 38%. That's a number we're looking at. 38-32, very close there. Wait a minute. Also slight leads with both independents, with 38-32, and with women. I'd seen this somewhere else. Very close there with women, and not sure where that exactly is coming from. But this debate was a very good debate, in our opinion, for Wendy-Davis. She was able literally to spell out what was going on, and Texas and Wheelchair-Abbott and his Texas Enterprise Fund, nobody was there. And they found, as one say, basically blank sheets of paper. And then Wheelchair tried to say, well, they sent letters. That was enough documentation. So, in other words, they just gave the money away, basically speaking. And it'll depend, as Wendy-Davis says, Wheelchair has a lot of ads. No doubt about that. Now, this $40 million or whatever Wheelchair has is just a drop in the bucket. These other interests, the Koch brothers, etc., out there throwing tons of money into Texas. So what this boils down to in Texas with Wendy-Davis running her grassroots campaign, and she roughly has a month to pull this off, is she has to get out into every village and hamlet in Texas, and hopefully what she's done, from what we've been able to follow, she has visited a lot of very small towns, villages, and hamlets in Texas, and I'm assuming as this campaign ticks down, she'll move into Houston, Dallas, and the big urban centers there, and that's where the massive vote get out will be. She's obviously wanting to get as much as she can out of rural Texas to offset Wheelchair-Abbott. That has always been the stronghold of the Republican Party and some of the suburban locations around Houston and Dallas and the Fort Worth area there. and San Antonio. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. It's a cookie cutter for things to come in the state of Texas. So it's on to the debate here, and we'll talk to you soon. Good day. And also we have coming up here called the Open Door an episode. That's about the White House and various things have happened there with the resignation, the forced firing of the Secret Service head, and where we go from there, the culture of the Secret Service, and other things.
The Texas Debates, Race for Governor, is brought to you by KERA, NBC5, Telemundo 39, the Dallas Morning News, the Texas Association of Broadcasters, other partners, and Texas Public Media Stations.
Welcome to the Texas Debates, Race for Governor. We're broadcasting live from the KERA studios in Dallas and online at texasdebates.org. I'm KERA's Shelley Koffler, and I'll be the moderator during the next hour as we bring you the last statewide televised debate between the leading candidates for governor.
Elect me as governor, and I will get Texas moving again.
56-year-old Greg Abbott is the Republican nominee for governor. He worked as a lawyer after receiving a law degree from Vanderbilt University. Abbott was elected as a state district judge and a Texas Supreme Court justice before winning his current seat as Attorney General in 2002.
I am running because I'll be a governor who will fight for every single hardworking Texan, not just...
51-year-old Wendy Davis is the Democratic nominee for governor. She's a Fort Worth attorney with a degree from Harvard Law School. Davis served on the Fort Worth City Council before voters elected her to her current seat as a Texas state senator in 2009. And thanks to both of you for being with us tonight. We appreciate your coming. You'll be answering questions from each other and also questions from a panelist of journalists. Gromer Jeffers with the Dallas Morning News. Brian Curtis from NBC5. Peggy Feekak with the San Antonio Express News and the Houston Chronicle. And Norma Garcia from Telemundo 39. She's going to have social media questions that have been submitted by the public. And you can join the debate on Twitter. Just tweet at KERA News, hashtag Texas Debates. We'll be sharing some of your comments during the broadcast. Now, for this first set of questions, candidates are going to have a minute to respond and then an opportunity for rebuttal. Based on a coin toss, Attorney General Abbott, you will get the first question, and that question comes from Brian Curtis.
Good evening to both of you.
Good evening.
Good evening, Brian.
Tonight, the eyes of the nation are on Texas and Dallas with the news that the first Ebola patient diagnosed here in the United States is here. Attorney General Abbott, if you were governor today, please outline the immediate steps that you would take to protect the people of Texas.
As governor, I would do what I did earlier today, and that is to speak with the commissioner of Health and Human Services here in the state of Texas. Do that first to find out what our game plan is and where we are going. I learned that the Texas hospital plan is one of the few locations in the country that is prepared to deal with Ebola. And the commissioner here in the state of Texas is working with the CDC to ensure that this situation is properly addressed. We need to understand both the concerns that people at home have as well as the health of the person who has or may have this disease. But we've seen already the innovative ways in which the United States is able to come up with drug therapies that can effectively treat and even eliminate this disease. So we're proud that we are national leaders in this effort. But as governor, I will ensure that we employ every possibility to keep Texans safe.
Senator Davis, if you were governor today, please outline the immediate steps that you would take to protect the people of Texas.
Of course. Well, first, Brian, my sympathies go out to the person who's been affected by this disease and the people who love this patient. I had an opportunity earlier this evening to speak with our Dallas County judge here, Judge Jenkins, and he reassured me that with the world-class hospital system here, they have in place the protocols to make sure that medical professionals who treat this patient will be safe and that they will be able to contain this disease. He asked that we consider helping our public community to remain calm. This is not an airborne disease. And we talked about the coordinated effort that should and will occur between the county, the state, and the federal CDC in order to assure that we're taking all precautions necessary not to see further incidences of this disease in our community. As governor, that coordination would be my primary purpose, and of course helping the public to understand and to remain calm.
We will now give each of you another 45 seconds in the same order for rebuttal if you choose to use it. Brian?
Attorney General Abbott, under what circumstances might a quarantine be necessary? Where would the threshold be for you?
Well, I think the threshold has been met right now. We want to ensure that this Ebola disease cannot expand any further. It's my understanding that, for example, the ambulance that transported the person has already been quarantined. We need to make sure that anyone who's been exposed to this is going to be quarantined. I think one of the first and foremost obligations of our state and of our nation is to ensure that this disease does not spread any further whatsoever, and that we bring to bear the medicines that were able to cure those doctors who came back to the United States last month, and ensure that we're able to eliminate this disease for the person who has it now, but ensure that others don't contract it.
Senator Davis, where is the threshold for you on quarantine?
Again, as I discussed with Judge Jenkins this evening, there will be and is already a quarantine in place for this particular patient. And protocols are being followed to assure the safety of the medical professionals that will be treating the patient. Of course, utilizing those resources and drugs available to us that we know successfully treated other medical professionals who had been in West Africa helping to treat Ebola patients will be administered to this patient is very, very important. But as soon as we know that we have someone who is suffering from this disease, an immediate quarantine is of course necessary and called for.
Okay, thanks to both of you. Our second question now goes to Senator Davis first, and it comes from Gromer Jeffers.
Senator Davis, there's not a topic that gets parents and teachers more angry than standardized tests. Now, both of you say that you would cut the number of standardized student tests. But how should test results be used? And to what extent should test scores be used to determine whether a student graduates or advances to the next level?
I have been a leader in making sure that we reduce standardized testing in this state, and in fact was a co-author of a bill last session to reduce from our high school students 15 end-of-course exams to 5. It's now time for us to decrease those pressures in middle and lower school grades as well. Tests are important measures to determine where students' strengths and weaknesses are, and they should be used for that purpose so that teachers can understand where the holes are and what they need to do to help fill them. I, unlike my opponent, would never advocate the idea that we expand the use of standardized tests to 4-year-olds. However, he's laid out a plan for his pre-K funding program that would include the use of those standardized tools in children as young as 4 years old.
Mr. Abbott, how would you use? Go ahead.
Sure. First, Gromer, if I could, let me respond and clarify and make sure that people understand that contrary to what Senator Davis said, I no more want 4-year-olds to take standardized tests than I want a cow to jump over the moon. The reality of what I want to achieve in education is to ensure that we build a strong foundation for education for our children, beginning at pre-K4, going all the way through 3rd grade, ensuring that every child in the state of Texas is going to be able to read and do math at or above grade level by the time they finish the 3rd grade. Gromer, I've seen this firsthand. My wife has been both a teacher and a principal. We've seen the ways that education can transform the lives of children so they can achieve things their parents couldn't even dream of. The way we do that, Gromer, is by placing trust where it belongs, and that is with our teachers, as opposed to these one-size-fits-all mandates from Austin, Texas.
Senator Davis.
This is our rebuttal time, Gromer.
Yes.